anticipated, okay? And if you've got a very narrow focus, you've got no pivot space. So keep it broader. So like you could say for technology, bringing gamification into the classroom, okay? Or using technology to engage, or as using technology as a form of formative assessment, something like that. But keep it that you can swivel if you need to, because the thing that you need to avoid doing is planning 3 separate cycles. Okay, you need to have enough knowledge of different strategies to avoid the problem that you're investigating, so that you know where you could go if certain things turn up. But it is meant to be based on your findings from the first cycle. Okay, so people going too broad is not an issue from the outset. You can always narrow the focus a little bit at the end before you submit. Okay, let me just get the chats up. Is behavior management too generic? No, it's not, Nishika. Behavior management is a good one. So if particularly you've got a new class, that's a great one, because you can explain that you had issues with behavior management in the last teaching experience, and then you're going to go into a new class with a set of strategies that you're going to implement in week 1. You're going to see how it changes, and then keep introducing new things. So behavior management is fine. You don't have to be specific. Okay, your last one was very specific because you were looking at an intervention, but this is more about your own practice. Okay, so yes, keep it broad, but keep it personal. Keep it something that you had issues with, or that your mentor said, hang on a minute, you need to look at this. We all had dialogics. So we all talked about areas that perhaps you could have as targets. So if you're really stuck, go back to those targets and think, is one of these targets something that I could look into? Because we discussed it, your mentor probably brought it up as well. That's an issue, an area that you could develop, okay? As I've said, a lot of people do behavior management. I've had things like, is Class Dojo effective? Now, you know, a lot of schools use Class Dojo. There's a lot of people who hate it. That's quite narrow. If you're doing behavior management, it might be a technique that you want to include. Okay. What's Dojo? Oh, goodness me. Is Dojo not reach Singapore? It's where you bribe children to behave. It's basically the kids have an avatar that they choose and they dress and they design. They're all monsters, and they get awarded dojo points for positive contribution or behavior. It's a real Pavlovian kind of behaviorist thing. They get points, and their points mount up. And then it's like, what do you do to reward those with the highest points? Well, then you see teachers get sucked into this, oh, I'm going to buy pencils and rubbers and they'll get prizes. Well, to me, we're then creating a monster, because the kid's only going to work if we give them prizes. Yeah, it doesn't work like that. At some point, a child's got to pivot and be, I want to work because I want to get here in the future, and this is the only way I'm going to do it. No one's going to give me a pencil or a rubber for doing it. I've got to do it because I want to do it. So that is the problem with dojo. But yeah, it was a way of kind of building into the sort of, I don't know, you're all too young, but like my kids had Moshi Monsters when they were young, it was that kind of thing, but trying to make it educational. There's a lot of schemes like that. You may do it old school and have like a thundercloud and a sun, and kids get moved from the thundercloud to the sun, or whatever. But really, any of those strategies do work, and that may be an issue you want to do. Do we do a reward system? What is intrinsically wrong with giving kids a reward system? How do we move them into that actually the achievement that they get is a reward rather than some outside thing? I mean, I used to be a PPT in the Middle East, and I had teachers bribing children to be good. It's like, where do you stop? If you're doing this in primary school, God help our secondary school teachers when these kids land in secondary school and we have to bribe them through their IGCSEs or whatnot. So that's an interesting one. But also, like, differentiation is a really good one. Adaptation, obviously, we should try and strive towards, but a lot of people find that much more difficult. I've had students do things like introducing tiered worksheets. So you have mild, medium, spicy, extra hot, all of that kind of stuff. That's gone down well. I've had active learning in the classroom. So everyone tends to gravitate towards similar topics because we all seem to have similar problems when we're teaching. What you can't do is touch on the area that you did your case study. So if you did EAL as your case study, that is out of bounds for this. If you didn't do it, then that might be something you want to look at, that maybe you want to improve your provision to students who don't have English as their first language. I don't think adaptive teaching will be too hard. I just think you need to be very specific in how you're doing it, right? So maybe in terms of boosting, not capping the learning of the lower ability or the middle ability, that kind of look, rather than, but really, so I've just said don't be too focused, but it's not so focused, but you get where I'm coming from. Ambika, preventative strategy to improve behaviour. Yes, I would, Ambika, though. Obviously, we know that behaviour is improved by clear communication, explicit instruction. It's been that proactive rather than reactive model of teaching. So yes, do preventative strategies, but use explicit instruction as just one aspect of it. Okay, so you would do explicit instruction. You may want to look at seating plans as well, but obviously that's going to be probably a later cycle because you won't know the kids. So the first one would be the explicit instruction. Then you may want to look at seating, and you may want to look at groupings. So that would be good. So you could look at preventative strategy, but then have a number of strategies that you're going to implement. So yeah, that would work too. But I'm just, I don't have a number. No, I just France fangirl here. Yes, I'm in a little bit of a quandary. I'm very tired because of these stupid match times that we have in the UK. I'm really it's like
I'm in the US.
50 degrees in England with no aircon. I've got hay fever from hell. This is not the summer to be in the UK if you're in the UK. All right.
Oh
but
my God.
Literally, I am an England supporter as well.
It is hot.
It is hot. But tonight I am France. Obviously, I am half French. I am going France. Ideal France-England final. Anyone but Argentina, basically.
And then my God.
Spain,
I'm a Messi fan.
No, biggest cheat in the world. We're not having it. So, right. Moving on, but yes, no, I don't have a number, but obviously Mbappe is my favorite, but Olise is, I like them all. All right. Anyway, yes. Argentina versus France. No. We're not having a repeat. Thank you. We are going England, France. All right. Because also I do think Jude Bellingham is an absolute poppet. His mum must be so proud. I mean, I would be, but anyway, moving on. Right. So have a look. Now they have put down on the module space, I saw yesterday, they've put some past students suggesting giving ideas of what they did. I don't know how useful that is. There's no exemplars as such, but the performer itself is actually fairly simple. It's the same as
I saw some samples today.
Did you?
Yeah,
Were they any help?
Well, I was like, I was thinking about this title, but I can't see the title anywhere. So it's all about, I don't know why you're doing it, how you're going to do it. I don't know, but yeah. But I mean, it's useful, I guess, to have a reference. But
let me get the exemplar up, because no, it's not week 4. It's actually in the 97 module space. Oh no, I can't do that. Hang on, bear with me. I
found it under assignments.
Did you?
Yeah, I was looking for the pro forma, just like the template, and under assignments it was like, here you should use the proposal pro forma, and then there was like some discussion task thing, and it had example proposal A, example proposal B.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just going through it as well. To-do list. So in the to-do list on the right, it pops up. So just to go to your own feed and then have a to-do list on the side, and all the example proposals and assignments kind of tend to get populated there.
I don't even know that section. What section?
Yeah,
that's
right.
Thank
you. I'll have a look. Thank you, Nishika and Amrita. Thank you.
It's different on mine as well, so I can't even show you mine. Let me just. My computer is just not working at the moment. Oh, okay. Let me try a different way. Bear with me, people. Like I said,
I think everything is heating up, Sam. Even equipment has a shelf life there.
So it's actually cooler here today and yesterday than it has been. And if one more person says to me, "Oh, you've lived in the Middle East, you must be used to the." We have aircon.
Yes.
Only in the UK you
All
have to
the
be
time.
35 degrees without aircon. It's like it's just.
I've got family here from Tennessee, and I'm like, aren't you used to the heat too? And they're like, no, we have aircon like you do in Singapore.
Certainly, we're sensible. Right, I'm sharing the proposal from my screen. Right, can we all see that? Yeah?
Yes.
I've lost you. Okay, I can't see you, so you're just going to have to shout at me. Okay, so this is a proposal. So again, title, and you can change this. This is not set in stone. So obviously the first section, similar, your chosen focus, what you're investigating, why you've chosen this topic, data collection methods. That is going to be different, of course. You're going to be talking primarily about the role of participant observer, okay, because you are the researcher and the teacher. Personal development as a teacher, challenges or concerns, a relevant reading from the module. So the first thing is what you're going to do and why, okay? So really in that one, it's why have you chosen it? Is it one of your targets? Is it something that's inspired you to explore further? Personal learning outcomes. Now, be aware that your action research may have more than one outcome. And what I mean is it may be that if you do, let's say, if you make your learning more student-centered, okay, to improve participation, you may also find out that there is an improvement in behavior. So there may be more than one impact or positive change that you may not be expecting, okay? So that's something to be aware of. Now, your methodology, obviously, this is, you're going to have a flick through action research models, okay? And you're going to have to kind of like compare and contrast them and explain which one you want to use, okay? You can put a diagram in if you reference it. You need to explain why it's a good fit for your project. You also need to talk about data collection methods. And please, if you can, link to references and say what their shortcomings are. You don't need many words, just, put them in. Then it says plan your first cycle, okay? So that's just a very generic look at what you're going to implement first. So for example, I think Ambika, Nishika, you said about behavior. So sorry, I can't remember who said it, about explicit instructions. That would be your first cycle, okay? So just write briefly. Obviously, you don't quite know what you're going to do yet, and how you're going to measure it, okay? Now, one thing that one of the big things is that you are going to find it very difficult to measure while you're teaching. I mean, obviously, you're going to have to do that. But how are you going to make that accurate? Well, one way is to get your mentor, when they're observing, to also observe. Maybe there's a tick sheet that you can create, behaviors that they can look for, okay? Make it very specific to the learning outcome that you want. So for example, if you're doing behaviors in the first cycle, what behaviors are you expecting, are you hoping to see, rather than just a general what behavior is happening? Because when you're observing, it's very hard to write down exactly everything that's happening. But if I'm looking for off-task behavior, or I'm looking for contributions to the class, then I can just tick the boxes. So that makes it much easier for me to collate data than like free write the diary, okay? I mean, for your mentor rather than for you. You will also have to do that, but you will also do field notes afterwards. So that would be your first cycle. An indicative reading list, obviously you need to put in something about action research, something about data collection methods, and a few things about the specific area that you're doing. Any other relevant issues or questions? Okay, so it's going to be timing, calendars, all that sort of stuff. So it's pretty much the same as the other one, okay? So there's nothing really to worry about. It's just getting your thoughts in order. Ambika.
Sam, for the 3 cycles, do we like, okay, first one, as the first one you were confused between Nishika and me. So it was me asked. Our names are quite similar. Anyways, so for the first cycle can be explicit instructions, and then second would be maybe something else. So do I include these cycle names within the title or not?
No, you just keep the title. Let me go back. What did you say? I mean, the title was fine about okay, so Nishika was doing behavior management and become preventative strategies. So you could teach you could keep the title as looking at preventative strategies in behavior management to reduce classroom disruption. Okay, something like that. All right.
Okay.
And then your first one would be explicit instruction, because you don't know the class, so you don't really know. So that's all you have to kind of outline is that first cycle, because obviously you're meant to be doing the second cycle as a result of your results. So, you know, you won't know currently what your second cycle is. All right.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Matt.
Hi. So I saw we're not allowed to interview students for this, as with the previous case study. Are we allowed to use survey data collected from the students?
Yeah. So you're not allowed to interview students, but you can get them to fill in a survey or a quick questionnaire. Like, did they enjoy it? Did they find it useful? That sort of thing. Okay. As long as it's low stakes, low pressure, that they're not under any duress to tell you that your lesson is the best lesson that they've ever had, that kind of thing. All right. So as long as you don't bully them, you can ask them to fill in a very simple questionnaire. All right.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I really would, guys, use your mentor on this one. I really would, because your mentor's in the classroom. You are going to need to have that objectivity that you're not seeing things. Also recording. You don't have to video record. If you can, that's great. You can like tape record as well, but it's so difficult to remember what happened afterwards. And the likelihood is you'll do this lesson that you're putting these strategies in, then you go and teach another lesson straight on. So you're then 2 lessons, maybe 3 lessons and a break time on. You're not going to remember everything that happened. So if you have someone else in the room, that's great. If you don't, just say, you know, I unfortunately I couldn't. Ambika.
Sam, sorry, from the last time, sorry.
Oh, okay. That's okay. Anything else about 97?
I don't know what to do.
Oh, you do know what to do.
No,
You're just causing trouble, aren't you?
No, I'm wondering whether to do adaptive teaching or questioning / like focusing on using less question, because I was so into questioning, looking at Rosenshine and everything. But then I think through our dialogic, sorry everybody else, but going through dialogics or whatever, we were talking about, yes, like I do use a lot of questioning, but that means I talk a lot. So looking at doing more discovery learning and hands-on. So I don't know which one to do. I'm kind of confused.
It's a nice one. Discovery
Is
learning
it?
is a nice one because as
Okay.
well, it kind of can throw up things like, you know, if it's discovery learning is well done, or active learning, or however, whatever you want to do, kind of like differentiation is included in that naturally, right? You have to decide, not me. All right.
Okay.
Questioning, I think, is difficult. I would try and avoid. And the other one that's really tricky, but if you want to do it, don't let me put you off, is feedback. A lot of people want to do feedback because your mentors, and I can guarantee everybody's mentor will say something about improving feedback in some aspect, because that's just such a thing is easy to say. And then people go, oh, I want to do feedback, I want to look at feedback. It's really hard because, you know, to do good feedback takes so much time, and you're on time constraint here. You've got the 6 weeks that you've got as your teaching practice, and you're straight in at day 1. So some of you in new schools, a lot of you in new classes, you know, it's a new year. So I would veer away from feedback unless that is your sort of like dream topic. Okay, there are easier ones to manage. You've got I want to say a few weeks. I literally have no idea what the day is. 14th. So we've got a good week and a bit. All right. Now I'm going to France on Thursday until the end of the month, and my house Wi-Fi bar is literally about there, and we live in a very remote village, so we haven't got cable yet because the local farmer hasn't given permission for the cable, and in France everything takes so long to get done. So I will endeavor to seek out Wi-Fi, and I will let you know about next Tuesday. But if I have to sit in Carrefour's car park with my laptop, I will be responding to emails. Okay. Luce. Okay, I'm just looking now. Thank you. It's my hay fever, just awash with them. Improve participation in a mixed methodology using cooperative learning structures. Yes, that could work. Yes. I would keep it as engagement though. No, you could do participant and engagement, but if engagement would be participation as well, but then it's like, is it meaningful participation, or is it, you know, is it deep participation, or is it surface? Have a look. Think of a title like Luce's put up, and go and have a look on the library and see what kind of resources there are, because you'll need to look for strategies or for ideas of how to implement this. Okay, right. Anything else with 97? Chuck, you know, I'm quite happy for you to send me through. I think Nishika is typing because I want to move on to MO1 because I know you've got your marks back. Oh, this football conversation. Here I am thinking about, yeah, okay, yeah. The last time we were in France, when France won the World Cup, it was nuts. It was crazy. it was like an Allez le Bleu, like tidal wave across France. So yes, Matt.
Oh my God.
I just saw, so on the mini lectures, there was there's an option to produce the proposal as a like a poster. Is that something you'd not recommend doing, or?
Matt, you know, this, hey, long story. It used to be that you could do it as a poster, right? And then a couple of last year I asked if they were still doing it as a poster, and they said no, they've taken off that format now.
Oh,
so
okay.
I imagine the mini lectures have not been updated. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, okay.
As far
Understood.
as I'm aware, it was just as this one thing, because it was actually quite a good alternative, but no.
Okay.
Right. I was looking for Linda. Did you get your MO1 back, Linda?
No, not yet. Still waiting.
Okay. Have you messaged Linda about it?
I haven't, but I'll message Linda after this
Messaged
meeting.
Linda. I haven't actually had any replies from Linda about anything I've messaged her, but maybe you'll be luckier than I am.
Okay.
The only
will
thing
do.
I can say is, yeah, maybe it's because you were later that it hasn't. But it's
Yeah.
it's on the system. I went and checked yesterday. It's on the system. My grade is on the system. It's there. Okay.
Okay. I will
So
email Linda then.
maybe chasing it. Everybody else got their grades back. Good. Okay. I hope there were not too many heartbreaks about the grades, and that my my marking made sense. We are moderated, and so on a couple of them you were brought down or brought up due to moderation from the two moderators that I had for me, but it was on the whole a pleasing input. I mean, I was pleased with all of them. I mean, some of you didn't score as high as others, but that was primarily due to critical perspective. I can honestly say it was just not engaging in the literature, and so that's easily redeemable. So on the whole, I'm just looking through your grades now, actually not on the whole at all. Literally, you were the best scoring class I think I've ever had. I didn't have anyone in the 40s, which is normally what I'm dealing with. So well done. And if you have any specific queries about your grade or my comments, then email me, okay? But if you have a mark in the 50s, it will be because there was not the critical perspective, because I cannot give you a 60s unless you're showing critical perspective at various points through the essay. So it may have been a really well written essay and a really great idea, but I am capped on that mark by the fact that if there is not a critical perspective, then you can't go into the 60 grade boundary. So if you were one of those people that got in the 50s and you were a little bit frustrated because you were stuck in the 50s, happy to talk to you about how you can boost it up in the 97. Okay. But yes, I was very pleased with them. They were well written and they were interesting, and they were all, I didn't have anyone kind of do completely the wrong thing. So that's always a joy. So thank you and well done for that. Linda, I chased Linda. Now, this teaching experience that is coming up, we have Lucy Stainsby in charge of it, which I'm eternally grateful for, because Lucy actually answers her emails. so that we know it's going to be a good teaching practice. Now, if you have access to your school, I know it's still July, so most of you don't, or you know your timetable, just put your timetable up when you know it and let me know. Just flag me so I know it's there, okay? I'm imagining we're having pre-contextualization tasks again, and then during contextualization tasks, but they've changed them all, so I have no idea what they are, all right? So I will look at them as and when they're online and we will go through them, but the pre ones don't tend to be that bad. Hong Kong, remember, you need your PPT, and I think, yeah, Linda and John as well, you both got visited. So if you're going back August time, make sure that you keep your eye out for your PPT email. We're some weeks away, but it's just a heads up. But this, as far as I'm aware, this teaching experience, we have another early meeting about planning, okay? But it's not the same kind of meeting. It's about setting targets and changing your lesson plan to show those targets. Now, what I encouraged my last group to do was actually use their action research as use the lesson plans from their action research to evidence a change that you have implemented in your classroom management, okay? I am then watching your videos earlier on and feeding back your videos before the end of the teaching experience. So this teaching practice, I need those videos in by week 3, okay? So as soon as you're in, if you're in a new school, new class, new year, you need to settle down and maybe week 2 film those videos and upload them as soon as possible so that we can meet and get all that stuff done before, okay? It is quite a chocker teaching experience. So anything that you can do towards your action research before all the reading and that sort of stuff will be really beneficial for you, okay? I know you want to be on holiday and try and combine it if you can, but you won't get a lot of time in the moment for the reading. And I don't think many of you will go, hello, I don't think many of you will go, will be back at school prior to mid-August, okay? And some of you may even have the luxury of being September. So try and battle on with this now. Drop me a line if you are blowing a gasket, confused, suicidal, whatever about it. Don't overthink it. Go, just literally think, what is my weakest thing in the classroom? What was I really not happy with? And focus on that, okay? Because this is about improving your practice. So pick something that you know needs to be improved. Okay, and with the September 7th, it's not ideal. Try and get as much done as possible. So you're literally just in there teaching those cycles, okay? And we'll try and get everything done and sorted. My adaptive teaching. You can email me. Right, any other questions? Because I think some of you are going to be going round and round in circles. Any other questions? No? Right. Okay, Matt.
Sorry, I just have a few questions about my teaching practice, but it's not really relevant to everyone else. So would I be able to speak to you just a quick moment after seminar?
Yes, of course, of course.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Everybody else, I will say goodbye. I will send out an email on my State of Wi-Fi during the week about next week, but I hope to see you somewhere, even if I'm in the car in car park, okay? Right, enjoy your week, get reading, try and have a little thing so that next week we'll have again an unstructured, you can throw stuff at me. All right guys, take care, bye. Okay, now what you cannot or should not do is pick something that you are interested in going into that you're not already doing in your classroom. So even though you may have a fascination with something else, that's not what this is. It is an investigation into improving your own teaching, but it is with something from your teaching experience that you feel you've underachieved at. Okay, so don't pick something new. Don't pick something that you cannot evidence that you had an issue with it in the previous teaching experience. So I know a few of you are maths teachers, and we've spoken about perhaps making your lessons more student-centered or more active learning. Okay, that's a really good one. If you have a classroom that you have taught from the front, and you want to increase student participation or student activity or student engagement, that's a really, really good one to do for 97. Okay. Similarly, if you want to investigate different ways of differentiating or adapting work, that's another really good one, because you can always evidence that children need to be more active, or children need to have work that engages them. It may be the higher ability students that you focus on rather than the lower ability. You may think that you spent too long looking at the lower and you want to push those higher students, but some of you will be with new classes from September. So you have to pick something that is generic enough to fit this new class, but still you can evidence that you could have done better from the last teaching experience. Okay, any questions about that thus far? Matt.
Hi, so in terms of the breadth of the focused issue, presumably you want to avoid something big just like classroom management, but instead they're going to go a bit more narrow than that. Is that right? So maybe like technology use in the classroom, that sort of thing.
Well, you can do that. I literally have just emailed Amrita, who sent me a very specific title. Give yourself wriggle room. Okay, go broader, because you've got 3 cycles. So you're going to change one aspect of your teaching. You're going to introduce a new element and you're going to teach it. And then you're going to record how the students respond to it. And then you're going to say whether it's